all the agents are like, oh, how do you get someone to, buy or sell a house? And I'm like thinking to myself, you don't get someone to buy or sell a house. Like that's
Yeah.
like the most expensive transaction someone's ever going to do.
And that's a profession which makes you a people's man, that makes you build rapport and makes you network with more people, so
Yes.
that skill can help you throughout the life.
I also saw a lot of people that would jump in full time right off the bat with that were newbies, beginners, and you could like sense the anxiety to close a sale. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's going to rub off on your clients, and that's going to rub people off the wrong way. And honestly, that's why I feel like our industry gets a really bad reputation. Like,
Hi guys, welcome back to the Realtors Chat Show with Rohan. This is our second episode, and today's guest is like one of my favorite people in America, and like he's like my dearest friend in America, and like we have this great bond together. His name is Mauricio Rezende, and
hey everyone.
yeah, hi Mauricio, so glad to have you on the show.
Hey Rohan, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about something about your real estate career, something before what happened before real estate, and about your childhood, about your teenage. Apart from the negotiations and the listings and the closings, there are a lot of things in the back end, behind the scenes in a realtor's life. So let's start off with your childhood. I'm really excited.
Sure.
So tell me something about yourself. Tell our audience about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Mauricio Rezende, and thank you, Rohan, again for having me here. I currently serve the Orlando, Florida area here, and I've been in Florida most of my life. I was born in Philadelphia, and I only stayed there until I was about 5 years old, where I moved to South Florida, Boca and Deerfield area, and I was there until about 13, and then I moved to Brevard County and went to high school, Melbourne High School. So go Bulldogs if anyone's listening. And then at that point, I moved to UCF, Orlando, to go to UCF, University of Central Florida, where I got my bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. Or no, I'm sorry, man, it's been so long. Political science and international studies, to be specific. And I have never used that degree. So that's kind of a little bit of where I am. And my childhood, I guess I kind of glossed over my childhood. I mean, I had a good childhood. I had a lot of friends, and played around. We played Manhunt a lot back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And let's see here. We had a lot of N64 parties. Played some Mario. A decent childhood. No complaints here. So.
Oh, okay. Tell me something about your like high school band. You were telling about that band for this podcast. So I would like to bring it over here.
Sure.
What was your band experience and what was your role inside the band in the high school?
Okay, so a little bit of backstory for the viewers and listeners here. Before we started this call, me and Rohan were talking. I saw a guitar in his background, so I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you played. So show me some of your skills." And he's self-taught, and he's played a ton. There you go. And so he showed me some of his skills here, which is pretty impressive. So in high school, my parents paid for me to have some lessons. I took lessons for about a year, and then we kind of went off on my own once I could read music and everything. And so I had some friends that lived close by. We started a band in high school, and we got to the point where we had about one or two songs ready. And then as I was mentioning to you, I had a date with my first girlfriend at the time, and they told me, let's go do our first show in someone's backyard, like a high school party. And I was like, well, I can't this day because I have a date already set. And they said, well, you're going or you're out of the band. So I was out of the band. So,
girlfriend is like much.
Yeah.
Girlfriend is of more priority, of course.
Yeah. My priorities in high school were definitely, I would never change them, right? So, but we still remained friends. We still hung out together. Just, they found a different lead guitarist is all. At the time, I was pretty good. But I've since lost that skill. Unfortunately, I can play maybe a tenth of what I used to be able to play. And right now, like I mentioned before, I'm trying to learn the piano now that we got a piano at the house, and trying to be more classical,
Wow. Let's jam someday together, like me with the guitar.
Absolutely.
And I'll do some of your revision with the chords and the strumming pattern. And I would like to take some basic chords lessons about the piano from you.
Okay. Yeah, maybe if I'm good enough to teach, I will absolutely. We can.
Okay, then let's move forward.
Yeah.
What happened after the high school? Where you went after the high school, and what was your bachelor's into?
Yeah. So I was pretty lucky. I had my senior year in high school. My English teacher, she basically forced me and helped me apply to a scholarship in Florida. For most Floridians, it's called the Bright Future Scholarship. They get them from like the lottery proceeds. Um, and so I was able to get essentially like 99% of my associates paid for.
Wow.
But only because I went to community college. Had I gone to a university from the start, it wouldn't have been that great. So 2 years I went to community college. At the time it was called Brevard Community College. Now it's called Eastern University. And I got my associates there, just a general. And then from there, I did a direct transfer to UCF. And my girlfriend at the time was interested in the military. So we went to the Air Force ROTC program at UCF, which I loved. But around that time, we were having like the recession. And so they ended up, out of 210 cadets in that ROTC program, I think about 21 actually made it because of all the budget cuts. Yeah. So,
okay.
And I wasn't working at the time, but I had to because all I had was my scholarship funds. So the program required a lot of volunteering as well to help, And so I didn't feel like I was competitive enough. So eventually I withdrew from the program, but got a great letter of recommendation, made some lifetime friends that I still talk to this day.
Wow.
And it was a great experience. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. Like a lot of things like happened when you were just 20, 21.
Yeah. I took my time at university. I probably spent about 5 years once I transferred to UCF. So
okay.
Okay. Change majors once or twice. So.
So what was your first job like? What was your first job like looking like?
Yeah, my first job was actually when I was 15. We had some friends that opened up a Atlanta bread. It's kind of like a Panera bread, but I don't think they're as popular. I don't even know if they're still around. But they were having like a training day, and I showed up to the training day because I had some friends that were already hired, and I came to fill the application, and the lady was walking around giving all the newly hireds, their little welcome packet and training docs. And she was like, "Oh, what's your name, honey?" And I was like, "Oh, I haven't gotten hired yet. I'm just filling out my application right now." And she just took the application. She's like, "If you're here, you're hired. Don't worry about it." So I got pretty lucky. And out of everyone there, I was the only one that was still there within a year because people left and moved on. And it was a basic job. I was just a busboy. I did the dishes, cleaned the tables. But I'm proud to say that I'm the only dish boy that ever got tips because people I guess thought I was so friendly, and I'd compliment people, and I wasn't trying to do it to get a tip. I didn't even think about it. But like one example, I saw this guy that had a really nice looking hat, and I was like, "Hey, I like your hat." He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." And when he left me like a $5 tip, and I was like, "Oh, wow, that's cool." Yeah, we didn't have servers or anything, so I knew it was for me. You know what I mean? Because that type of restaurant, you don't have a server, so it was interesting. I've realized that hey, you'd be genuine and just compliment people. Like sometimes, they'll give you something. I don't know if that's like a foreshadowing or
yeah. Okay, so moving on towards like your entrepreneurial journey, like what was your first entrepreneurship venture?
Oh man,
in your 20s.
Yeah, so my dad always owned his own business. He's an accountant. He has about 3 offices in Florida, and he travels a lot to Brazil. So that probably had some influence as well. But it wasn't really until my college years when I was working. I had 2 jobs. I was working for Publix, which is a grocery chain here in South America. Or I'm sorry, south part of North America, right? And and I was working another job for security at the airport. So the airport job was a lot of overnight shifts because of the nature of security there. And the Publix job was really more stocking, groceries, things like that. And it got to the point where it was finals week in college, and I told my security job, "Hey, listen, I have a finals coming up. I can't work this week and make sure I have it off." Now, when that week came, we had someone quit, we had someone that got fired, and he needed me because security, if you don't have someone fill in a shift, you can get fined up to like $10,000. So it wasn't his fault, but it really upset me because I had let them know ahead of time, and I tried to even get coverage, and I don't feel like he really did the most he could. So at that point, I really realized, like, listen, I need to take my own financial freedom into my own hands, and I can't let someone else, control that, because I almost failed a semester because of that, and that's money down the drain too, So I ended up leaving that job and just staying with Publix for a while. But that supervisor actually got fired later on too because of how he treated his, and then I got rehired at the airport. So karma, right?
Yeah, karma.
Yeah, so at that point I was like, you know what, I really don't like, even at that point I had 2 jobs for that very reason. I wanted something to fall back on if someone tried to hold too much leverage over me because of that. Like, no. If I told you I'm off, I'm off. You don't tell me to come in.
Yeah.
So at that point I started looking for other opportunities, other work, and I found the event industry. In the event industry, it's all on a per job basis. So it's very entrepreneurial because you have to be able to find the work. And the first job I got, I'll never forget. I thought I was applying to a regular job. I found this website. I put my application in, and they're like, "Okay, we'll send you some invites or some events." Like, I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't understand what's going on." So, that year, December, I think, want to say 2014, I got an invitation to work an event. It was just like setting up like a stage. It was actually at UCF. It was their Christmas presentation. So I set it up. I got paid like $17 an hour, which at that time was amazing for me. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Okay.
Awesome.
But it was a one-day thing, and that was it. I was like, okay, what happens now? Then like a few weeks later, I get another invitation for this race event they have in Sebring, Florida. And I worked there for, it was like almost like a whole week. And that one was $15 an hour, but it was an entire week. So it was a lot of hours. I was like, let me do it. Yeah. And when I'm there, I'm with some of the other staff that they hired, this staffing company. And some of the other like more experienced people are like, oh yeah, so what other event companies are you with? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. So basically they explained the industry to me. You sign up with a bunch of different companies, and that's how you're able to get full-time work. So at that point I absorbed like everything, right? Like the wheels started turning, the entrepreneurship. So I'm like, okay, every single event I worked, I talked to everyone. I made sure I was always like at least half an hour early, like offered to stay late for it without any pay. And I got booked on tons of stuff. Like I went full time like that. And within like, I'd say
so important. Like networking is so important in the events industry.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people like would go up to these events, and then like if we needed to stay longer to help clean up and stuff, they would just leave or say like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm a model or something like that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, no. So those people wouldn't get work again. I get called in, and eventually I end up being their managers on future jobs. Because I built such a good rapport with all these like staffing managers, tour managers and stuff. In fact, there was a couple of times when when I was working like a 24 hours straight through an entire event, like in this specific case it'd be like the Rolex 24, and one of the tour managers like, hey man, if you need to, like, go take a nap in the back, and like they had these bunk beds in the semi truck, and like they just hand me the keys, and like for that amount of trust, it really shows that like, hey, I had built a really good rapport. And I got future jobs.
Dedication was at like 100%.
Yeah. So my main thing was like, I always wanted to, I'd show up early, stay late if I needed to, offer always to help. I don't care if I got paid or not at that point. I got my shifts, like, and sometimes I would get paid, sometimes I wouldn't, but I'd get future jobs, And I ended up actually getting a job touring the US with Chevy for about 2 years, which was a blast. That was like one of the most fun jobs I had, and I don't regret it. So that was really the entrepreneurial stuff, to make a short answer long. Because it really required you to have to, once a job's done, the job's done, right? It's a separate event, different brand. So you have to really keep going back and looking and like staffing out your calendar here, and then keeping track of who's paid you or not, off your miles, all of your expenses, things like that. So it really became its own business,
Exactly. And that's a profession which makes you a people's man, that makes you build rapport and makes you network with more people, so that skill can help you throughout the life.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it, is because every job was completely different. No, it wasn't like me at Publix or security where everything is the same thing you're doing every time. And I loved that it was always something different, and that's what kind of kept me excited, because I get bored easy. I'm not gonna lie. It's same thing every day. Like, oh man, that's why I like real estate, because real estate, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're buying and selling houses, but every client has different needs.
Exactly.
Every client's looking for something different. You're looking at different parts of town, townhomes, houses, condos, new construction. Like, I love it, because it's never the same thing twice.
Awesome. So you are a part-time agent right now. Since how long?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm going to my third year here. I started in 2018, 2017. I can't remember the exact year. I can't do math right now either, apparently. But this is my third year going into it. And I started part-time. And really what I noticed when I first started is like where I started, and we're getting our training, all the agents are like, oh, how do you get someone to, buy or sell a house? And I'm like thinking to myself, you don't get someone to buy or sell a house. Like that's like the most expensive transaction someone's ever going to do.
Exactly.
What you need to do is market yourself and be knowledgeable and be looking for the people that are ready, essentially. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to convince someone that's not ready to buy a house. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
I haven't seen someone with that kind of skill set. The people that normally get convinced were already on the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also saw a lot of people that would jump in full time right off the bat that were newbies, beginners, and you could like sense the anxiety to close a sale.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's going to rub off on your clients, and that's going to rub people off the wrong way. And honestly, that's why I feel like our industry gets a really bad reputation. Like realtors are known as like used car salesmen. There's like they are viewed so poorly, and like a lot of people don't feel like they even work for their commission. You know what I mean? So my main thing was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm willing to wait and go part-time and go slow, because I want to make sure, one, I get all the education I need and I don't feel pressured to make a sale. So that way I can make sure I service my customers at 100%. And all my clients have been happy clients, and a lot of them have sent me repeat business. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. What are all other things like that you have learned in these 3 years? The 3 major things that you would like to share if someone is starting out right now in 2021?
Oh man. So for this year specifically, when 2020 hit, we had the shutdowns back in March and April, and we were kind of worried. I had an active listing at the time. And, I was worried about anything even selling. But after about April, I think everyone knows that things took off. Low interest rates have driven people to the market, and that's driven prices up because interest rates are so low. So one of the major things, in fact, I did a video that'll be on my YouTube channel later on.
Yeah.
Really about like how you can be more competitive in this market, because we see a lot of people putting multiple offers on the same house. So you'll get one house and it'll be 10, 15, sometimes 20 offers on a home.
Yeah, correct.
And appraisers are starting to crack down on how much they're appraising the value. And so you're seeing buyers having to bring money out of pocket to help with the closing, make sure they close on time. So what I recommend people right now is really, if you have a budget, say at 300,000 is your top of your budget, maybe look around the houses around 270, 275, maybe even 280, just to make sure you have that wiggle room if you're going to put an offer in, just because it's going to really help, so you don't get disappointed, your expectations don't get down. Because I hate for people to fall in love with the house and they don't get it because someone else bid on a $300,000 home 320, because you are seeing that happen.
Yeah.
The other thing I recommend is I've been focusing a lot more on new construction, because on new construction, once you put a contract in, you're not bidding over the same contract.
Exactly.
There's not going to be a lot of competitive bids. You get to kind of customize your home, the way you want it, and hopefully in the area you want, is if you find a community in the right spot. And, you're not having to bid with other people. Now, just keep in mind, with new construction, you're not going to have a lot of wiggle room right now for negotiations. So a lot of people want to go in and try to treat new construction like it's a resale. You can't really negotiate new construction, especially right now when they know there's so many people wanting to buy.
Yeah. And inventory is also low. You have to
so
take it or leave it.
You might be able to get some concessions if you use their lender and their title company. You might get some off closing, but you're not going to negotiate them down the price. I had a client that actually tried that, and then they ended up coming back and having to pay a little bit more because the home that they wanted actually got sold in that time frame. So that's something to consider. So new construction, I'd say don't try to negotiate too much. It's not in this market currently, right? If the market changes, then okay. Be willing to look a little bit under your budget so you have some wiggle room. And then the third, and probably the most important, have a pre-approval letter already ready. And
the proof of cash. And the proof of
Exactly. If you're paying cash, have the proof of funds. But if you're using a lender, make sure you have a good lender. If you don't, your realtor can recommend you one, or should be able to. In fact, when I'm interviewing lenders to recommend my clients now, that's something I ask, how quickly are you closing deals? Because a lot of them are overwhelmed and they're not closing on time.
Yeah.
how what kind of proof, funds or pre-approval letter do you have? Because I just spoke with Linda right now, where he makes sure he verifies not just verbally, but he actually confirms the credit, the income to debt ratio, and he goes in and checks the employment as well, all in the pre-approval, and it says that there, that's all been not just verbally confirmed, but has been hard confirmed. And he'll actually call the listing agent with the buyer's permission and let them know, hey, this person's very well qualified. We're very confident. That goes a long way when you have a lot of offers, right? We're certain we can close in X amount of days or whatever, sometimes even earlier. If you find a lender that can close earlier, even better. So those are my 3 recommendations.
That was a golden nugget for them. 3 golden nuggets. Yeah. So right now, generating leads is never an issue. Everyone knows, like, you get leads everywhere, even from Zillow.
Yes.
You get shared leads from Zillow. I know Zillow leads are not like that preferred these days, but people go for those leads. Ultimately, those leads don't convert so easily, Zillow leads, because Zillow is selling those leads to 10 other realtors as well in the same zip code. So the person who calls the leads the very first is the one who is getting the business.
Yep.
In the we have seen it statistically. But the main point is, how can you generate exclusive leads, pre-market leads? And that's the power of social media or even Google. But here's the thing about the Google leads. There's a huge competitive landscape on Google right now, because, for example, I want a house. Right now I'm going on Google, a 3-bedroom apartment in Orlando, for example. Okay.
Sure.
I got couple of links, Google ad links. For example, few realtors are very smart. They're running Google ads, and they got their listings. They got their links, their landing pages on the top of the results, above the SEO results. Okay, so that person is going over there and filling their information, email ID and contact number, as well as the requirement, and they're filling this small generic form, and then they're bouncing off from that particular link, and then they can see the major SEO players over there, realtor.com and Zillow. They are going over there and they're searching for listings, and they're submitting the same information over there, and Zillow is selling that information to 10 other realtors in the same area.
Yeah.
It's not over yet. They are going back, and then they are visiting the realtor as well, realtor.com. They're submitting the same information. That same lead is being shared. So it's
if there's an agent on Zillow or Realtor and they're tired of waiting, they'll even call that agent,
Exactly. So in this way, that one lead is being captured and surrounded by so many realtors, because he has that buyer's intent. On the other hand, if you could generate leads on Facebook, which gives you a lead for $1 or like 77 cents sometimes, or max to max, the upper limit these days is $5 in the worst case scenario. You get these quality leads, and those people are like scrolling their social media, and then they see your ad, and that interest has been created right now. They don't have the buyer's intent right now, but they got interested into that house, into that listing. So once they are submitting their information, then they can be retargeted, they can be nurtured throughout the year, and then whenever they are ready to convert, they do convert. And you are the only point of contact. Conversion rate is, we don't say like conversion rate is very high. Out of 100 Facebook leads, we can see 2 in the worst case scenario is the conversion rate.
That's still really good for people that don't know real estate world. That's good conversion rate.
If you're spending $500, you are getting 100 leads, and out of 100 leads, what we do is we don't throw those leads on a Google sheet. We use our own proprietary system to convert those leads, to nurture those leads, call those leads using the inside sales agent team, ISA, who have been doing this thing since 10 years. Like, they are very huge, lots of experience in building rapport in real estate. They call them, and then they make them book the appointment with the realtor.
And that's key. That is important. So
the realtors are generating leads these days. 95% realtors are generating leads. Everyone needs leads. But there is a limit, actually, the number of calls you can make. Cheers.
Cheers. No, there absolutely is.
The number of calls you can make in a day. For example, you got 50 leads throughout this month. You are calling each and every lead, and if you're lucky enough, you're booking appointments as well. also managing your showings, also managing your paperwork,
Yeah.
doing like 10 tasks per day, and then you booked 5 appointments, for example, then what is happening to the rest of the 45 appointments? Leads. What's happening to the rest of the 45 leads? Missed opportunities. Because you can't email them personally, you can't take care of the email drip campaigns personally, because you're the one talking on the phone with them, you're the one showing them the houses, you're the one handling the capital paperwork, you're the one like showing up in the brokerage, telling about your day, about your listings, about your experiences with the clients. So how many tasks a particular realtor can do in a day?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you're right. In fact, Rohan, when you first reached out to me, you know, we had talked a little bit about your campaign and stuff, and unfortunately, I already had committed to a different one. But what we talked about and what caught my attention with your campaign is that you included the follow up, you included the nurture and stuff. Because as we spoke about right now, I'm still part time, and I'm about to transition full time in the next couple months here. But my main issue now is because I'm balancing my other job, which is title, so I'm still in the real estate industry. It's just I get so many leads in and I can't get to all of them at the same time, you know. And I know with real estate, you know, people want to see their houses right then and there. They're not going to wait for you to call them, you know. So if I take more than a couple hours to reach out to them, like you said, they're going on Zillow, they're going on Realtor.com, they're checking out other websites, and so by the time I can get to them, you know, yes, I've gotten in touch with a couple and I've been able to make contact with some, but how many more am I missing out on because I'm not able to get on the phone with them or get someone like yourself or your team to contact them and ask them a little bit more about what they're looking for, how we can help, and be the best service that we can provide. So
the speed to lead is very important.
Yeah,
speed to lead.
100% agree.
If you like cross that 5-minute mark, if you're not calling them within the 5 minutes, you lost them.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So we usually call them within like 1 minute 20 seconds.
That's awesome.
Once the lead is inside the CRM, that's a qualified lead. After all, that lead is filling that chat bot. That chat bot is qualifying that lead even when you're sleeping.
Yeah, that's a great business model.
So we are qualifying them based on they are lender approved or not, based on what's their requirement, what's their budget, and what's the timeline. Maybe 3 months or 6 months. We never know. Obviously, the lead won't convert tomorrow.
Right.
That's a warm lead, but someday it has to convert only when you are on the top of their mind, only when you are in front of them using the retargeting ads.
Yep.
You do whatever you want to do just to be in the top of their mind, because whenever they're ready to convert, they have to convert through you, because there are 2 million competitors you're having over there in the US.
Something I see on Facebook a lot too, because I'm part of different realtor like mastermind groups and like you know, networking groups. I can't tell you how many agents will tell me that they had a really good connection with the lead, and of course they're newer agents, and you know, they said they weren't ready to buy, but they're going to buy in like the next 6 months, and they'd be in touch. You know, anyone experienced in sales will know that I'll be in touch with you doesn't mean you let them call you back. You still want to be on top of mind in some way, shape, or form. Even call them back, even if it's 3 months. You know. Because what's going to happen is they're going to forget about you and they're going to call someone else when it comes time. Because why should they remember you? You had one conversation for 10, 15 minutes. Like, I'm not going to remember that in 6 months down the road. So, yeah. So they end up losing the lead. I've lost leads that way too. I'm guilty of it too. When I first started, I have some close friends that bought homes with, and they didn't use me. And it's my fault for, not staying top of mind. So I've been doing a much better job about that recently, especially my social media presence. And we talked about I'm upping my YouTube channel game. So
I'm gonna ping the link. I'm gonna pin his link of YouTube channel right now in the description of this YouTube video, of this Spotify video or Spotify audio. You can see in the description his channel's name and his link.
Okay. Very cool. Appreciate that.
And usually, whenever we are gonna partner up soon, Mauricio. Absolutely. I'm going to run a reactivation campaign for you for all the lost leads, so that you can book some appointments upfront before we start the campaign. Yeah. so that you feel much better when we are starting, because you have some contacts, you're having some emails, those leads are sleeping inside the database. We can do something to reactivate them.
Yeah. Honestly, my wife gets on my case because I have I don't know, I don't want to say it's OCD, but I guess it would be. I have really bad anxiety when I when I have like, even if it's not leads, even it would be just like a task at work. If I feel like I'm not getting it complete, I get really stressed out. So like if I have, 100 leads coming in a month and I haven't had a chance to call all of them, I stress out and I'm like, I have to call them. Like even if it's been a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's just a personal thing inside me. Even if they're all junk phone numbers, it's just like, it's like a checklist. Like I'm a checklist person, right? Like when I sit down and make a checklist and I have to physically check mark things to feel a sense of accomplishment. That's how I am. So when when I'm not able to check that off or something intervenes, like my hair gets grayer. So just no.
Calling junk leads is like almost a waste of time. Like
it is, but it's just it's a thing inside me. I just got to know, because you never know. You might have the one that did wait a month to hear from someone and they answer it once in a while. It's very rare, like you said, but it's just my checklist mentality. I gotta call.
Exactly. So how long do you sit for making those calls? Like at a stretch, how long can you sit?
So right now it's a balance, because I still do work a full-time job. So for the listeners listening in, I worked in the events industry, and then in March when COVID hit, events stopped essentially. There was no more events. We got laid off. So I had an active listing at the time, and so I had a title company reach out to me about my listing. I ended up hitting it off with the owner, who's a really good guy. And the thing was, I told myself, if I take another full-time job, it's got to be real estate adjacent, so I can eventually make that transition.
Yeah.
And so I took the title job, which I actually love because it's helped me learn a lot more about the title process and closing processes. So I feel like I'm in a much better position information-wise than a lot of other realtors.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot more about what happens in the transaction, estoppel searches, lien searches, municipal lien searches, all sorts of stuff there. So I lost track of the question. Sorry, Rohan. What was the question?
What was the question? Even I forgot. The question was, how long do you sit for making those calls at a stretch?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I have to really work 9 to 5 my title job. So typically, if I get up early enough and I'm at my computer early enough, I'm trying to make some calls between like 8:30 till 9, which I don't do much of because I don't want to bother too many people early in the morning.
Yeah.
The majority of my calls happen really after 5 p.m. Between 5 and 7, maybe up to 8, but I won't call anyone after 8 p.m. because I feel like that's too late and I don't want to pester people. So, I really have like a 2 to 3 hour window where I'm like trying to get as many calls as I can. And then of course the weekends, if I'm not showing properties, I'm making those calls Saturdays and Sundays too, a couple hours each day. Try not to work the whole weekend because, I want some time to spend with my family, my dog, my daughter.
Wow.
So
you have a dog. That's awesome.
I have a huge dog, just a great Pyrenees. And she's less than a year old and she's already like 70 pounds. So
oh my God.
Yeah, I love it. So
when I'll be in Orlando, like I want to see her. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. She loves people.
Awesome. I'm going to visit America in 2022. All the listeners, I'm from India, from Mumbai, the financial capital, the financial hub of the South Asia.
Yeah.
So I have my relatives in the New York City. So I'll be visiting. Yeah.
Very cool.
My mom's sister.
Maybe we can coordinate because I have some family in like Philadelphia area, but it's been a while since I've been to New York. So I think
definitely.
It was like 2015 that I went to New York last time.
Okay.
So.
Cool then. So I'll be visiting the New York City, of course, and I'll also visit you because you are my client.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I have someone which I have partnered up in the Tampa as well. So you in Orlando, one in Tampa, one in Houston. The recent episode, my first episode, was with Javon Moses. He's a wholesale.
That's the one that I saw.
Yeah, he's in Houston, by the way. He's a wholesale real estate entrepreneur.
Very cool.
He's like doing like more than 14 states simultaneously.
Wow, that's impressive.
While he's in college, he's making $10,000 in real estate per transaction.
Hey, graduate college without any student loan debt. That's a good thing to be able to say.
Yeah, exactly. So coming back to the leads, what are the major pain points that you see right now since you are a part-time agent? What are the pain points which you see in the future when you will become a full-time agent May onwards, May 2021?
Yeah, I mean, Honestly, the pain points as a part-time and as a full-time, I feel like are going to be the same just because it's going to scale. It's, my main pain point right now is time management, right? Like if I get X amount of leads in a day, I sometimes don't have time to make all those calls. Like you said, if I'm out showing properties and, researching houses or communities for a client, like it's really hard to juggle all that in. And again, that was the appeal of your services. You were saying that you'll do a lot of the legwork, the initial nurturing, ISA. Absolutely. Yeah. So ISA is key if you want to scale your business as an agent, because at the end of the day, there's only so many calls you can make, so many appointments you can book on your own, and keep track of your calendar, keep track of contracts that are currently under contract, make sure those meet all their deadlines, like inspection periods, appraisals, surveys, estoppel searches, all of that stuff. So if you want to set yourself up for success as an agent and you really want to scale your business, you really have to have a system in place where you have someone taking inbound calls, you have someone setting up appointments,
exactly.
And you just focus on doing the parts that you love. And for me, I love, like, that's the reason I did events, is I love talking to people. I love being in front of them. I love the social aspects and solving problems.
Exactly.
I can definitely assign someone else to do the stuff that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like,
prospecting.
I can just look at my calendar and see what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that works perfectly for me.
Exactly, man. I'll just fill your calendar with 12 to 15 appointments every month, so that you just have to like focus on those appointments. Like, I want to ask you this question: what can make you a better closer?
That's a
good question. Doing prospecting or meeting more people?
Meeting more people for sure. Because prospecting, you're not getting to the closing. You know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to get,
one closing.
You'll get some, but exactly. Yeah. It's all about volume, right? Like, if you can get more volume, you're going to get more experience faster at an exponential rate.
Exactly.
And not that you won't get experience doing it the slower way, but you're going to get more experience in a bunch of little things that you don't necessarily need. You know, I don't need experience on booking an appointment. I don't need experience on filtering a lead out, you know, like taking calls.
That's a painful process. So after taking so many calls, like when the main time has come, like for showing the house, at that point you are so exhausted. But I have been like throughout this whole process, throughout the sales cycle, and right now I have to do the closing as well. Of course, you have to do the closing. So being a realtor, you have to focus only on the closing, of course.
Yeah. And honestly, like, making the closing experience fun for the buyers too,
Yeah.
If someone's buying a home, especially for the first time, like, I love making gift baskets. Like, I love going to like Total Wine or one of these fancy stores and like coming up with a gift basket, especially if I got to know the client a lot. Now, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I forget to get like some personal information, like what they liked. But like a lot of times I'm able to. And honestly, if I don't, like the day before closing, I'll just ask, hey, do you drink? Or like, what's your wine of choice? Or if not, like, what's something else you like? Worst case scenario, at least like a gift card and a card. But usually I like making some like nice looking baskets. I think you saw one or two on my Instagram that were pretty cool. And, make them happy and excited to be moving in. Not like, oh man, I just spent all this money, you know what I mean? You want them excited and not having buyer's remorse, because if they're happy with their purchase and they like where they move, sorry, my dog's barking. Then, then they're gonna refer you other clients and stuff to say, hey, this person did great. They did a great service, and you should use them.
I've seen photos of you. I've seen photos of you on Instagram. All your clients are so happy. Like, those are very impressive photographs. And please do follow Mauricio on Instagram.
Thank you. It's Mr. Realty in Orlando, MR Realty in Orlando. Appreciate that.
He keeps on posting videos, like blogs.
On the very beginning, I gotta get back on that. I've been slacking on that part.
You should, man. Like, your camera presence is really good.
Thank you.
Even I have started some vlogging recently.
Oh, very cool. That's why I'm trying to do more YouTube too, because I like the long form videos, and I want to do more educational stuff that's free, that like kind of like what you're doing, you know what I mean, like like have a whole, teach people how the whole home buying process works, show them how they can sell a home on their own even if they don't want to use a realtor. You know what I mean? But a lot of times, even after seeing that, people don't want the hassle of it still, or they want to make sure they're doing it right, and they'll still end up using you. But like you said, provide the value up front. Exactly. Otherwise, you just always look like a money grubbing used car salesman. No offense to the good used car salesmen out there, but there's not a whole lot of you.
So, according to you, one last question.
Yes.
According to you, what's the future of real estate by the end of 2030?
2030.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know him or
Same
not,
here.
but
Same here.
yeah. So
I've
if you
been
go
following him since like 2018, 2017.
okay, so when you go to New York, let's plan for us both to go meet him because I want to go meet him.
Definitely. New Jersey,
In fact,
right?
I'm sorry.
He's in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, I think he's got an office in New York too. So
I was
he's got
watching his
like
like
5
tea
or
with
6
Gary
offices.
Vee. Oh,
Yeah.
Vayner Media.
Yeah, so I believe what he says, man. I think Zillow is gonna be a big player, and they're gonna have a lot of realtors on salary. I think commissions are gonna get smaller because our clients are becoming more educated. The technology and tools they have to question some of these fees and some of the prices for things, they're gonna start negotiating more, as you're already kind of seeing, which I don't think is actually a bad thing. I think the realtors that make it are the ones that really have a strong social presence, that really care about their community, and that really just put their clients first. But like if they don't have a social presence, even if they do all that, they're not going to last. Like you gotta really have a social presence, like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, and really put your clients first. Yes, we have to get paid for our work, we need to make a living too, but you need to be serving your clients. I can't tell you how many realtors I hear say they're not going to show their buyer a house because it's only paying 2% commission. That infuriates me, because at the end of the day, that's none of your business. Yes, you need to get paid, and the seller should be paying you, but if your client wants to see that house, you are obligated as a fiduciary responsibility to show them that house. Like that to me frustrates me, but
to educate them.
That's a whole other podcast episode.
To educate them upfront about the whole process.
Yeah, and so what I've been doing with most of my clients is, a lot of people don't know how buyers agents get paid. And so we're trying to tell them, because there was actually a lawsuit filed with the Department of Justice recently, because a lot of buyers agents will say that, you don't pay anything for me to represent you. It's kind of not true. And you can, so basically, can I say this really quick for your
sure. Go ahead.
When a realtor signs a listing agreement with someone who wants to sell their home, they agree to a certain percentage. Usually, most cases, on average, it's 5 to 6%. So they agree whatever the sales price is, they're gonna get paid that much. They will split that normally in half, and they'll offer, if it's 5%, 2.5% to whoever brings them a buyer, or 3% to whoever brings them a buyer. So you are still paying to be represented by a buyer's realtor, but it's already put into the fees of the home sale price. So just be aware of that. Yes, you're not technically paying because it's being financed into your loan, but you are still technically paying. So
exactly.
All right. So, get that off my chest.
And you were talking about this book, right? Millionaire Real Estate Agent, MREA, by Gary Keller. You have got your copy, I know.
I have my copy. I don't know if it's with me right now, but yeah, that's a book that I've skimmed. But yeah, that book, actually, when I was first became a realtor, that everyone gets recommended to read that with a good reason. It really breaks down the systems in place that an agent should have if they really want to scale their business beyond just themselves.
Exactly.
And that's the eventual goal, right? My long-term goal is to still be a realtor, but I really want to do more like house flipping and like rentals and things like that. And honestly, I don't want to work full time. I rather, like, in 10 years from now, have enough residual with like rental management to be working on occasion, but really spend more time with my family and pursue some other projects that I'll talk about in the future. We'll keep it hush hush for now.
Definitely. And you're gonna come back definitely on some other.
Absolutely.
I'm inviting you again. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're there in the first couple of episodes. I really appreciate to be on my podcast. Like, this is the start of my podcast, and when we'll be having 25, 35, 45 episodes, definitely we are going to miss you throughout the whole season. We want you back 10 times more.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to be on again. I enjoyed it a lot, and I think we had a lot of fun.
Same here, man. So,
and hopefully, I know the viewers learned something too. So
everyone learned. Even I learned a lot from you. Definitely.
Well,
so it was great having you on the show, and definitely let's meet soon. Let's partner up soon. And all the people who want to sell their house, who want to list their house, or they're looking to buy a house in Orlando, they can contact him. I'm leaving his Instagram profile over here in the description. And all the realtors who are looking forward to automate their whole prospecting, and they need to have the systems in place, since Gary Keller rightly said that all the big agents or the big teams, they pay ISAs.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There are many models mentioned in that book. One model is that ISA model, and other is ISA plus virtual assistant model.
Yeah.
You need to have both of them, because if you want to become big, you need to have ISAs and virtual assistants with you, or a proper system. So you can inquire about those services, and I'm leaving my YouTube channel. Of course, this is on my YouTube channel. You can you can comment down below, or you can definitely get in touch with me on Instagram. So have a great day, guys. Have a great day, Mauricio. It was
Thank you, Rohan.
It was
Great meeting you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.